people are always asking me how I ended up in the job that I'm doing at CareLink 360, and it's a pretty interesting story. I knew the founder, Paula Mueller, for about 10 or 15 years, and we actually met back then at the National Caregivers Conference. I was giving a speech, and Paula and I sat on a panel together and got to know each other, and I was very fascinated with what she was building. And back then it was, the name of the company was called Sociavi, and she was designing it for aging adults that had little to no knowledge about technology, and it was going to let them connect with their family and their friends and do all kinds of activities. And I thought that was really interesting, and I admired the work that she was doing. And we just stayed in touch over the years, and we would get together every year for an annual lunch, and I would ask her, Paula, how's it going with the company? And she would say, you know, this is what I'm doing and this is how it's coming along. And I would give her a little advice, and I'd, talk to her about the development, and we'd part ways and we'd get together the next year for our annual lunch, and it was the same routine. So about 2 years ago, we get together at a restaurant near Princeton, New Jersey, and we're having lunch, and the same question comes up, Paula, how's it going with the company? And she said, well, I've got the next iteration, and this is what it looks like, and these are the features and functions. And I looked at it and I said, Paula, this is just an unbelievable product that you've developed. I said, how are you getting it out to the masses? Because it seems to me with the aging population, there's so much need for what you're developing. And she said, well, I've got this website and, people can come and order one. And I said, well, what's your B2B strategy? How are you taking it to market, selling it more than just one device at a time off your website? And she said, well, I really haven't fully developed a B2B strategy. And I said, well, I think, that really is the way that you can scale this company quickly and really get this product out in the hands of people who need it to help with the caregiving and connecting family and friends with the aging adult. So I said, well, look, let me do this. Let me try to find somebody to help you commercialize this product. I said, I'll do some work. I'll look around. I'll see who's available. And Paula looked at me and said, well, Dave, what about you? And at the time I was working on some other projects and I was involved in some things. So I said, well, let me just do this. I said, when I go home tonight, I'm going to log on your website. I'm going to buy one of these devices, and I'm going to have it sent to my 87-year-old father living by himself in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And that's what my dad was doing. He was living by himself. My mother had just recently passed away right before COVID. And so basically my father was sitting around waiting to die. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's what he was doing. He'd get up every morning and he'd get dressed and have his breakfast and spend the rest of the day with his two best friends, who were Judge Judy and Dr. Phil. And he'd sit on the couch all day long and basically do nothing. So I buy this device, I have it shipped to Green Bay. My sister, who lives in Green Bay, pairs it up to Wi-Fi and gets my dad going on it. The next thing you know, my dad has his 9 grandchildren paired up to the device through the mobile app, which they download. It's free. And now my dad begins to every day start video chatting with his 9 grandchildren. So it's given him a renewed sense of life, happiness, connection to family. All of those things we know are important to aging adults, especially those aging in place. The other benefits that we began to notice was when we set it up, my sister and I were the administrators of my dad's device. So we started programming reminders, and we programmed 2 reminders in the device for him to take his medication, one at 8 a.m. and one at 8 p.m. So when a reminder goes off, the 15-inch touchscreen device chimes 3 times and continues to blink until Dad touches the screen, and that sends us a text notification letting us know that he's received that reminder. So we started him doing that. We programmed 3 reminders a day for him to get up and get some steps and start exercising. So all of a sudden, with this 15-inch touchscreen device in my father's home, his 9 grandchildren paired up to it through their smartphone, his 4 children paired up to it with his smartphone. My dad is now being re-engaged with the family. He's video chatting multiple times a week with his grandchildren, which made him extremely happy. His medication compliance went from about 30% to up over 90% because of those reminders. And he went from walking about 1,800 steps a day to walking a little over 9,000 steps a day. Again, because of those reminders. That device would go off, he would touch the screen, acknowledging that he saw the reminder, and he would start walking. Now, we had a Fitbit paired up to his wrist so we could see his activity and the steps that he was taking. So I'm sitting there watching this whole thing transform my father's life. Not only my father, but quite frankly, our entire family. My father, again, was reconnected to the family. It was giving him a purpose to live. So I went back to Paula after about 3 months and said, okay, you've really got my attention now, because if I could see this happening to my father, who could barely make a phone call on his cell phone, to being engaged in a 15-inch touchscreen device and knowing nothing about technology and utilizing this thing every day for video chats and reminders, that this is going to change a lot of people's lives for the positive. So I knew right then and there that I had to be involved in this. Now, the other thing that the device does, which my father really enjoys, is Paula has built over 400 cognitive activities at multiple levels. Everything from my dad picking a picture and running his finger over the device to reveal the picture, to more complicated ones like jigsaw puzzles, word search, and solitaire. So when he's not video chatting with his grandkids, he's playing and engaging in those memory activities, which he finds entertaining. So I knew I had to be a part of this. I knew I had to find a way to join Paula on this quest for changing the way the world ages. And so I met with Paula and said, okay, now you've got my attention. I've seen what this has done for my family. I want this to happen to every family who needs this. So I joined the team. I joined in early 2024. We immediately rebranded the company from Sociavi to Caroling 360. We launched a new website. And one of the most exciting things that we've done over the last year is built the capabilities to track everything that our users do on the device, and we're able to monitor cognitive stability and cognitive decline over time. So I can log into a private, secure, encrypted portal. I can pull up my father's account and I can see how many video chats he's had with his grandchildren and my siblings. How long did those video chats last? What activities did he do? What level did he do them at? How long did it take him to do those activities? And was he in fact able to complete the activity at that level? So now we can look through AI, it charts out cognitive stability or cognitive decline over time. And that information of leading indicators of cognitive health are used when we go see his neurologist to understand better how my father's getting along. Because here's the reality of the healthcare system today, and this is what actually happened to our father. So my sister, who lives in Green Bay, close to my father, notices my dad starting to slip. We take him to the doctor. The doctor says, let's make an appointment at the neurologist. We take him to the neurologist. They sit him down and do a 2.5-hour memory test. So we come back 2 weeks later. The neurologist sits us down and says, we've got the results of the memory test, and here's the punchline: early stage dementia. So we look at the neurologist and said, okay, we understand, but what do we do now? And the neurologist says, well, you come back a year from now, because now we have a baseline of where your father's cognitive health is. So you'll come back a year from now, Dad will do the memory test again, and we'll see where he is compared to the baseline of the first memory test. I looked at the neurologist and I said, well, you're telling me that we are going to manage my father's cognitive health on lagging indicators, which are 365 days old or older. And a neurologist looked at me and said, unfortunately, that's standard of care, and that's how we measure cognitive stability or cognitive decline longitudinally. So now with CareLink 360, we're able to look in a portal and look at our users and allow the family members to log in and see what their loved one is doing and what cognitive stability or cognitive decline they're seeing based on the activities that they're doing. So it really has transformed not only our family's life from a reconnection, satisfying or mitigating isolation and loneliness that my father was experiencing prior to getting the digital health companion, to the medication compliance. My father lost 10 pounds because he's walking, has increased in steps. He's healthier, he's happier, he's sleeping better at night, and he has a will to live now because he's reconnected to family, to friends, and to the people that he loves the most, which are his 9 grandkids. So when I saw this, I said I had to be a part of this, and that's really been the journey. So now we're a little over a year into the rebranding of the company, the new website, the new features and functions on the digital health companion, and implementing it into assisted living and memory care communities. And I have to tell you, the reception from families that we're receiving from giving them the ability to reconnect to their loved ones, especially those who live hundreds of miles away, who wouldn't necessarily, maybe during the holiday season or the New Year's season, get to see their loved one. But if you think about it, they've got families, they've got jobs, they've got children, and they've got mom and dad or grandma or grandpa in an assisted living or memory care community far away. So the outreach that we're receiving from families telling us what a godsend the CareLink 360 Digital Health Companion is, because it's allowed us to re-engage with mom and dad or grandma or grandpa on a frequent basis. They're video chatting, they're watching their mother or father enjoy the activities that we offer on the Digital Health Companion. The additional benefits, now that we're taking it into assisted living and memory care communities, is the staff within those communities are really delighted to see the CareLink 360 implementation, because it's giving those residents more things to do. They're seeing happier residents, they're seeing more engaged residents, and they're seeing those residents connect to their families. Not to mention the efficiencies that are being driven for the assisted living and memory care community because of the notification system that CareLink offers. That's replacing a lot of the in-person notifications that have to go on to let people know that it's bingo time or the bus to the museum is leaving in 10 minutes from the lobby. All of that can now be handled through notifications on the CareLink 360 Digital Health Companion. So all the way around, happier residents, happier staff, improved efficiencies, happier families. And so it's really the trifecta of what we're trying to achieve here. With all those warm welcomes and emails that we're getting, I know that I've made the right decision, because it's not only changed my family's life, my father's life, but it's changing the lives of so many aging adults, their families, their friends, and their extended care teams. So I invite anybody to come and look at mycarelink360.com. Reach out to me personally if you have any questions, and I hope you'll work with me to change the way the world ages.